You think your anxiety comes from the world around you, the noise, the pressure, the uncertainty. But the truth is quieter, older, and closer. It lives beneath language, beneath memory, in the invisible machinery of your nervous system. Every tremor of dread you feel is not a reaction, but a whisper from something you never named, something that never stopped watching you. Anxiety is not a thought. It's an ancient pulse disguised as modern worry. Long before you could reason, your body learned what danger felt like, the tone in a voice, the tension in a room, the silence before a storm. These impressions sank beneath awareness, fusing into the rhythm of your heartbeat. Now, when nothing is wrong, your body still listens for that same danger. You call it overthinking, but it's remembrance, cellular memory repeating its warning. Your body keeps testing the world for ghosts it cannot see, trying to survive what's already over. How can you feel safe when the threat lives inside your skin? You've spent years trying to calm your thoughts, unaware that your thoughts were never the problem. The mind only echoes what the body has already decided. When your chest tightens, your brain invents reasons to explain it: deadlines, rejection, the future. But these are masks worn by something older, the reflex of a body that once flinched and never stopped. Trauma research calls it implicit memory, the past stored not in story, but in sensation. Every panic, every restlessness, is the body reenacting what it could not escape. You call it anxiety. Your body calls it unfinished survival. If the body never forgot, did you ever truly move on? You keep trying to manage your anxiety, breathing techniques, affirmations, control. But control is what anxiety feeds on. Every time you tighten your grip, you confirm to your body that danger is near. The nervous system doesn't understand your logic. It understands only tension. You are teaching yourself to stay afraid by trying not to be. Cognitive psychology calls it ironic process theory. The harder you suppress a thought or feeling, the stronger it becomes. Your calm is camouflage, your discipline a disguise for panic. You don't manage anxiety. You orbit it endlessly, pretending mastery over something that quietly owns you. If control is the cage, then what is freedom? You learned early that safety depended on who you could appear to be. The compliant child, the achiever, the peacemaker. Identities constructed not from authenticity, but survival. Psychologists call this the false self, a mask built from the fear of disapproval. You wear it so well that even you believe it. Yet underneath, the nervous system trembles, knowing the price of being accepted was the erasure of being real. The anxiety you feel isn't just fear of failure. It's the quiet panic of living as someone you're not. Every breath a negotiation between truth and belonging. How long can a mask breathe before it starts to suffocate its wearer? You chase safety like oxygen, routines, familiar faces, predictable outcomes. But safety has turned on you. What once protected you now confines you, shaping your life into smaller and smaller spaces where nothing unpredictable can enter. Neuroscience calls this avoidance conditioning, the mind learning to reduce exposure to discomfort until comfort itself becomes claustrophobic. You mistake this stillness for peace, but it's paralysis, the nervous system's quiet rebellion against uncertainty. The absence of danger is not the presence of freedom. It's the silence of a system too afraid to move. What if your comfort is just fear wearing soft clothes? Anxiety turns awareness into a weapon. You observe yourself from the outside, dissecting every gesture, tone, and pause, searching for what went wrong, what might go wrong, what you are doing wrong. This is not introspection. It's surveillance. Psychologists call it self-monitoring, a hypervigilant loop where your consciousness becomes both judge and prisoner. You confuse self-awareness with self-attack, scanning your own existence for errors that don't exist. Each reflection multiplies into another, until you no longer know which version of you is real. You wanted to understand yourself. Instead, you became your own experiment. If the observer is never still, can the self ever exist? That constant commentary inside your head, the one whispering that you're failing, that you're behind, that you'll never be enough, isn't your voice. It's an inheritance. Developmental psychology calls it introjection, the internalization of other people's expectations, fears, and criticisms. Over time, you mistake these absorbed voices for your own conscience. They shape your self-worth, dictate your reactions, and haunt your quiet moments. You no longer need external judgment. You've automated it. The mind becomes a looping broadcast of messages you never chose but can't turn off. If the voice inside you is never yours, then who are you when it finally goes silent? Anxiety doesn't live in the present. It drags you backward and forward, projecting past trauma into imagined futures. Cognitive behavioral psychology identifies this as prospective anxiety. The mind rehearsing threats that haven't happened, replaying threats that did. You think you are planning, preparing, surviving. In reality, you are trapped in a temporal hall of mirrors, where memory and imagination overlap, and danger becomes perpetual. Each moment of calm is borrowed, a brief suspension before the body reminds you that the world is never safe, and you are never ready. If the future is already written by past fear, then when did you ever truly exist? Your anxiety thrives in the spaces between people. Social psychology calls it hypervigilance to evaluation, the unconscious scanning for approval, rejection, or judgment. You smile, nod, adapt, but underneath, every interaction is a battlefield, your nervous system counting betrayals before they occur. You believe in friendship, in conversation, but what you really believe is that someone is always watching, always waiting for you to falter. The mirror of the social world amplifies your fear, reflecting not reality, but your anticipation of it. If every connection is a threat, then what remains of trust? Your thoughts are not linear. They fold back onto themselves, forming an intricate web where every fear justifies another. Clinical psychology identifies this as rumination, a cognitive loop that strengthens neural pathways of worry. You chase solutions, dissect causes, analyze patterns, yet the more you do, the more the mind entraps itself. Each insight becomes a new source of anxiety, each memory a springboard for imagined failure. You are a labyrinth without exit, your consciousness tracing corridors that lead only deeper into the shadows. If understanding is the trap, then what does freedom even mean? Your body speaks constantly, but you only hear fragments. Psychologists call this interoception, the perception of internal bodily states. Every flutter, every tightening, every sudden chill is a message you misinterpret as threat. Your heart races, and you think, I am panicking, yet the racing existed long before you named it. Anxiety disguises itself in sensation, convincing you that instinct is error. You chase explanations, seeking rationality, where there is only raw signal. Your body whispers truth your mind refuses to understand, and each ignored pulse strengthens the illusion that you are unsafe. If the body's warnings are real, but the mind denies them, then who is lying to whom? Anxiety craves extremes. You find yourself imagining scenarios so dark, so detailed, that your mind shudders with their plausibility. Evolutionary psychology calls this negativity bias. The brain prioritizes threat over reward because survival demanded it. You tell yourself you are just prepared, but preparation is a mask for obsession. Each catastrophic thought reinforces neural patterns that make danger feel inevitable. You are addicted to your own dread, a collector of tragedies that exist only in possibility. Your imagination, once a playground, has become a hunting ground. If the mind thrives on fear, then is hope ever more than a fleeting illusion? You crave quiet, yet when silence comes, it terrifies you. Psychologists recognize this as stimulus deprivation anxiety. Without distraction, The mind turns inward, exposing all the hidden fears you avoid in noise and activity. Your thoughts swell, unmoderated, each one a mirror reflecting another layer of dread. The stillness becomes a magnifier, amplifying the smallest tension into existential terror. You think isolation will soothe you, but it only reveals how thoroughly anxiety has colonized your consciousness. Even absence of input is input, and it tells a story of relentless vigilance. If peace is absent because your mind invents it, then where does reality end and fear begin? You have built your life on rules, routines, and habits, a fragile scaffolding of certainty. But psychology teaches that the human mind cannot tolerate absolute stability. It craves novelty, yet fears it simultaneously. Anxiety exploits this paradox, eroding the foundations you trust. Every plan, every expectation is vulnerable to the unpredictable chaos lurking beneath your perception. Your sense of order is an illusion, and the more you cling to it, the more your nervous system rebels. Even your memories, carefully archived, shift under the weight of interpretation. If the world is never truly knowable, then what have you ever relied on? Now look at yourself, or the version of you thought you knew. Every heartbeat, every thought, every fleeting sense of control has been a rehearsal for something you cannot name and cannot escape. Anxiety is not an intruder. It is the lens through which you perceive existence. Your memories, your expectations, your relationships, even your quiet moments are all haunted by its silent architecture. Reality itself bends under its weight, and you are left wondering if the self you inhabit is anything more than a trembling echo of survival instincts, forever anticipating danger that may never come or that always has. If everything you felt was a signal you could not decipher, then who is left when the fear finally stops speaking?